I've been influenced by my husband, and I'm now into really bad puns, apparently, because for Halloween, what I really want to be is a Husqvarna Viking. Okay, so I bought this like linen kind of fabric to look more the part. I really think that a good costume's in the details, right? So a good costume is going to be of the right kind of fiber. This I pre-washed because I pre-washed everything, and yeah, let's hit the iron. I'll be right back. No, I'm not stalling. It needs to be ironed. All right, okay, it's pressed. It's going to be a lot easier to work with now. It did leach off some color when I washed it, and I thought about re-dyeing it darker, but that would actually be stalling. So we're not going to do that. I also was unsure. It's so funny. If I have to start from like a pattern, I can modify it, or like a fitted bodice, I can modify it, but this is like so loose that I don't know where to start. What's kind of fun about this project is that there aren't really that many remaining pieces of Viking clothing, and especially not for women. So I did find some online resources to help me decide what to do, and I was surprised to find that they actually do not use a T-shaped tunic like I suspected they would. That's more common. It would appear in the South regions. They actually have a fitted shoulder cap, which was pretty cool. But I am going to modify my pattern off of the T-shape, and to help me with that, I have this book. It's awesome. It just breaks everything down for you into basic shapes. Of course, I'm going to share it. It's basically saying that I need to go around my chest measurement plus about 2 inches for ease. So let's get that started. I do want it to go all the way to the ground. And what better way to measure that than just to drape it over my shoulder? Once we get rulers involved, I'm a much happier person because I know that there's about to be some structure in what I'm doing. So this is going to be the front and back of my garment. They do have fitted sleeve caps. So, I'm going to start dropping out my shoulder here. In general, we're going to come in 3 inches. So to start off, I'm coming in 4 inches from the center, and I'm coming down 3 in the back. I kind of want to have a keyhole neckline. I might leave it round though, because there's no proof that they were using those necessarily. I just think it's a pretty place to add embroidery. I was measuring my shoulder, not my shoulder on the thing. So I have really broad shoulders. I've known this from before. Like a 6-inch shoulder, which is pretty unusual for a lady. I believe it's just straight down, but I know I'm not going to fit that. It's not going to be big enough. Okay, so to get my knees in, squeeze it over my head. It's got to be 48 inches all the way around. I'm trusting none of y'all are judging me for my measurements here. I mean, obviously I'm taking them in a very sloppy way, but like the 48-inch chest. Don't be rude on the internet, y'all. I'm going to have to re-examine, which I will draft in a minute. We'll draft an armhole together in a minute. Let me mark this all the way down. This one's got me flustered, you guys. But honestly, it's going to be so cute. I've already pretty much announced my win for the costume contest because the pun is too ridiculous. I've had friends 3D making me accessories. I'm hoping to have like a giant sewing needle for my spear. Maybe a pair of sewing scissors is like the dagger at my waist. I'm just going full nerd with this one. So what's unique about this period in history is that the split is beginning to happen where they're adding a little more fullness in the waist for ladies. So let's go ahead and do an over shoulder measurement so I can add where I'm going to add my gore in. That's going to be a separate piece of fabric, but I do want to mark it. Yeah, I've spent the last several videos trying to convince you guys that I'm competent and good at this, and I am gonna burn all that goodwill on this project right here. Oh my god, I'm so tall. I can't believe I need all this fabric. So I'm back. I know we said we were stalling a lot, but but wasn't stalling. I was getting the brain trust. And now I have Alec here, who is also on the TikToks. And she pointed out that this is like an ancient garment that's not super well fitted. So my going overboard thinking about the cap sleeve and the not caps. I mean, they just barely figured out shoulder seams. So I'm way overthinking this.
I don't even understand why. You make full Victorian costumes.
I do.
You make full. You make
know.
corsets. I don't know why a shift is
It's
freaking
like
you out so much.
it's so much more
Is
stressful.
it because this is like 2 years? Like the idea is 2 years in the making.
I think that's part of it, and I think maybe the other part of it is that the more I like something, the more I'm afraid to mess it up.
Yeah.
So when I do this upcycling lab, when I do the upcycle jacket, I'm gonna tear it. Yeah, I'm gonna tear it up. I don't care. I'm very attached to the stupidity of this idea. Cut our arm curve in there, and it looks like an arm curve.
Good enough.
Good enough. I'm gonna give myself a little seam allowance though. Oh my god. I think it's time to cut.
Yeah.
I already screwed up.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Because the back of the neck doesn't come down as far as the front of the neck.
That's okay. We'll make it work.
I should have mic'd you up.
No, it's more fun.
To just have me yelling randomly at someone off screen.
No, I'm sure they can hear me, but that's like a thing. It's a thing I brought up.
It's like once I get to the sewing part, this is going to be like the easiest thing ever to put together. That's why it's kind of like, ugh. I am opting to go to the later version that has the sewn in shoulder seams and has the little Godet panels at the waist. So I have a little room for my hippie hips.
Hippie hips?
They had to have hippie Vikings.
The shoulders and the hips, that's the thing. Do you not watch that guy, the Viking guy, and like he watches videos of people doing like strange, like he's like, go get him! I want him on my ship now!
No, I don't know that one.
God.
I am going to cut panels, and you can put them on the front or the front and the back. So these are just literally triangles. And I'm just cutting the triangles from the waist where I'm going to expand it all the way down on both sides. All 45 inches that it takes to get from my waist
Yeah.
to the bottom.
Okay, we'll just start a series of pattern drafting.
I love pattern drafting. I think that's why this is stressing me out so much. Take a triangle and attach it to the rectangle, and I'm like,
No!
what?
Are you doing it double layered, like the whole thing double layered?
No.
Okay.
We live in Texas.
I was just asking.
This is gonna be a single layered garment for show. I'll show you how to do a really cheap and fast sleeve.
Okay.
Because this I refuse to just sketch out. I won't do it. First. And it's gonna be from the shoulder to your wrist.
Mm-hmm.
No, I got it. I grabbed it. So 26
Okay.
inches down. I gotta make sure I have enough fabric here because I'm gonna draw my pattern right onto my fabric. And I do. So I have my total arm length, and I have kind of measurement from my shoulder to my arm side. And then you're gonna make a little box. A little cross like this.
Yeah.
We know that the total curve is gonna be 24 inches because that's what we drew out. So I'm gonna a little guy, and I'm just gonna start my curve in and then taper out on both sides. So I'm gonna go around the fattest part of my arm, and I do want to go bigger than this because I would like to be able to kind of push my sleeves up. So that's our 17, but we're gonna actually push it to like, oh, well, you know what? My ruler is,
We're doing 18.
we're doing 18. We're gonna kind of draw our curve in. Normally there's a lot more math in this process.
It's fine.
It's not fine. I want to make sure that. Nope, that's only 22. I didn't do enough. I'd rather go too big than too little because if it has a little bit of a gather at the sleeve cap, I think that's okay. There we go. So that's roughly 24.
Are you gonna math this?
I'm not going to math it. I'm not, but I could.
Hey, confused.
I like sewing math.
She likes applied math. Practical math.
So I talked about this book earlier. It's very cool. It's very basic. It's just kind of loosey-goosey. This is for when you get serious. Here you go. Here's the sleeve development. We'll show the picture. I'll probably end up just taking a picture and putting it in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is what I'm doing right here, right? So I have my bicep line. That's the thickest part. You saw me measure that.
Yeah.
And then you have the length of the sleeve is F. So that's this. And then the curve of your sleeve.
Are you mathing?
I am. I'm giving up. I'm mathing. Forgot how easy it was to do. Oh, no. I got close enough. I'm looking at it.
I told you have the muscle memory. That's what I said.
Yeah, I kind of nailed it.
I was like, you have the muscle memory. Why you're worried about this?
I worry. So then I talked about, like, you can go as narrow as you want on this sleeve. I want to keep mine pretty loose. Again, we live in Texas. Mm-hmm. And I want to be able to kind of, like, push my sleeves up like this. I want to be able to push it to, like... At least there. So at the very bottom, it can be maybe, like, 14. And then you just connect the lines. Oh, I didn't add any seam allowance to the arm side, but that's okay. Like I said, we're just like...
I don't long.
Normally when I do pockets, what I really like to do is not do them kidney bean shaped, but instead do them kidney on the bottom but flat on top so that you can sew it into your waistband and get a little extra support.
Yes.
But this doesn't have a waistband.
Yeah.
So we will just be tacking these just into the fabric, but you won't see it because I'm going to have like the curdle.
You could probably do it with a blanket.
I'm going to do the curdle apron over it. Yeah. So it's not going to matter. This turned out fantastic. This is the beginning of my apron. And here's where I made my mistake. Your piece at this point should be like a really long rectangle because I'm really tall with a hole in the middle. And I really wish I hadn't sewn these sleeves on because it would be a lot easier to do all of the embroidery that I'm doing now on the edges of the sleeves and to put a proper neckline in. However, I panicked and didn't think that I had the sleeves drafted correctly. Turns out I absolutely did. They're going in great, and now I don't want to take them out. So we're just going to deal with all the excess fabric. This is how I'm doing the embroidery on the sleeves. Of course, a million times easier if you do it when the sleeve is open. Here's my finished one. I'm using is the Aqua Magic Plus on the back. I love it because I can stick it directly to the fabric and it's going to dissolve away. This is tear and wash, so you tear off everything that you can and then it also dissolves away. Unlike the top of the apron, where I used like a leave-in iron-on stabilizer, I want the extra stiffness here to make this stay a nice, sharp line and this still lay nice and flat across my chest. But I don't, whoop, and on the floor it goes. But I don't necessarily need it here on the sleeve. So I wanted all of this to dissolve and wash away. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the other half of the sleeve and we'll start worrying about the neckline. And I don't actually have to get it perfect because the design placement on the Epic 2 makes lining these lines up really, really easy. I'll show you guys how it works. Okay, so if you are on an embroidery machine that is a Husqvarna, you have design placement. And it's this little guy right here, the flower with the target symbol inside of it. And it will help you line up your patterns, your designs in real time. I'm using it now to make sure that my two designs meet up at the end here. So I'm going to go ahead and click my design placement tool. Design positioning. And step 1 is where you choose what part of the design you want to line up. Because I'm matching this to the part I just embroidered, I want to go for the lower corner right here. So that's step 1. Step 2 is going to actually match that location on your fabric. And it is very precise, guys. So you can see that it is not quite hitting the corner here, and that's where I want it to hit. So I'm going to actually just move it over, and it's going to move my hoop in real time. It's a little high, so I'm going to move my design down, and it's moving my hoop. And I way overshot it because I'm talking to you guys. And it is perfectly on that crosshair. So now I'm going to make sure that this design isn't rotated, or rather that I didn't hoop it rotated by checking the second point. So you're going to go to step 3. And I want to do the other corner because I want it to be on that line I drew. And I did a really good job hooping because it's already perfect on the line. But if I needed to use either of these arrows, it would just rotate the design on the screen to get my 2 continuous designs perfectly lined up. So let's embroider. While you guys were watching that embroider out for me, I just did a 3-thread narrow hem on these pieces of fabric because I want to have like laces made from this and also the loops made from the matching fabric. Normally I would try to turn them with a safety pin or maybe with my serger method, but it's so thin. I wanted to try my new toys. I had the sweetest lady gift these to me. I have no idea what they are, but I'm so excited. These are wild. Despite my desire to just jump in without knowing what I'm doing, maybe this time we should look at the directions. These just look so cool, futuristic. I guess you should probably try to use the largest one you can for the tube, maybe? I know that there are a couple of people out there absolutely freaking out because you know what these are and how to use them. Ooh, this is tight even for the second smallest tube, y'all. Oh, wait. No? Yes? No. Oh, no. Guys, I was on the right track. I almost had it. I think maybe I'm just not using one that's long enough. Okay, let's try this. So you do it like this. Hold it over the edge. Fine. There we go. Turn the pigtail. There it is. Okay, so you're supposed to be able to like pull this through the tube, but I can't get it to come through the tube. But I am able to pull the tube off like this. So it's working even if I am using this product completely wrong, which is honestly pretty typical for me. Perfect cord. You know what? It works great if you don't try to suck the fabric back through the tube, which is what the instructions indicate you should do. If you just kind of gently turn it off the tube, it works awesome. So I'm gonna just do that again. So I took those tubes and I just started making some loops and cutting them free. I'll use those later, but first I'm going to use one of my very favorite feet, the edge stitching foot. Like so many of the others, it has the cutout in the back for the built-in walking foot. And here's a little guide so that I can glide effortlessly along the very edge of my fabric to have this perfectly even design. And I'm going to use this for my foot. I love this whenever I'm using decorative stitching. And here it is. It looks so good. All right, friends, we are so far into winging it that even I'm starting to get nervous. But luckily, I have Dottie here. Vikings loved cats, so I feel like this project is going to turn out okay. So far, I have this huge, long, one-piece cut with a boat neck. I sewed my sleeves in, so it's kind of like a really big, cross kind of a shape. So now I'm actually symboling everything. I have these pockets that I sewed together foolishly before I remembered that you need to sew those after you put them in. That's okay. Moving on. And I have these gussets to give me a little more volume at the hip. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and sew the pocket to the gusset and then just start sewing everything around the body together. Normally, I do one long swoop from the wrist all the way down to the ground, and I think that's how we're going to do it this time. So, wish me luck. Or kittens. One of my favorite things about sewing is the opportunity to do things just for me. So here's a pocket, and it's going into a dress. It's a Viking gown, so it's always going to be covered by an apron. You won't see this, but I did put a pocket in, and I was going to bar tack it on the corner to keep it from pulling my dress, distribute the weight of the pocket evenly. But then I thought, why not just do something pretty? No one's going to see it, but I'll know it's there, and it'll make me happy. So we have these extra large stitches available on the Viking machines that move backwards and forwards as well as up and down. And I selected the stop button, so it's just gonna do exactly one flower to hold that pocket in place for me. So tell me, what little things do you do when you're sewing that just make you happy? I've tried to lay it out on the floor so you can see what I'm talking about. I will add the original pattern next to it so you can see, but I think I got it pretty close. I mean, Lexi and Dottie like it. So my next step is to shoot the cats off the fabric and fold it in half. Show you that. There we go. So now I'm literally just going to sew down the sleeve and connect the gusset, the triangle of the skirt, in with the front panel, if they let me. Pretty simple construction, just a little nerve-wracking to cut without a pattern. Okay, moment of truth. Okay, so it goes over my hips, which I was truly deeply concerned about. And it has pockets, but I'm definitely taking a little off the bottom and hemming these sleeves up. And then the dress is done. Let's get to work on that kirtle. So now I'm working on the apron, and it is literally 2 rectangles. It's pretty simple. I do want to put a stitch across the front that looks like a handmade stitch. And whenever I want to achieve that effect, I just go to my utility stitches and I do my reinforced stitch. On some machines, it looks like 2 parallel tracks of lines. This one is a thicker line. And I increase the length of the stitch all the way to 5, like a basting stitch. And what it ends up looking like goes back and forth. Looks like these long, thick stitches that look handmade, which is what I want for this costume. We don't have Vikings going and using their sewing machines. We don't have Vikings using their Vikings. And there goes my lights. Okay, so my next step is I wanted to lace up the sides. I made these loops earlier, and I'm just gonna sew them on every 1/2 inch from the top down to the beginning of my hip.
And that's when I ran out of time, folks. I'd have this apron done because I had an appointment the next day at Ren Fair with the blacksmith to make my very own hairpin. It was a blast. I've gotten to wear this costume again, and I love wearing it and making it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the kitties, and also me. And we'll see you next time.